City Council Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, met in Council Chambers June 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the matters listed below. Notice this meeting was posted on May 8th, 2025 at 2:40 p.m. In attendance, we have from the committee, we have Councilors Cohen and Jerslow. Absent are Councilors Varela and Morsillo. We also have Anna Friedman with us. We have Deb Duhamel. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Sam Mustafa.
Say the name again.
Sam Mustafa.
His name was Sam Mustafa from the city. The ordinances we're here to discuss tonight are water rates, sewer rates, and trash rates. We also have with us from the Committee of the Whole, Councilor Davis. So we can start with water rates and go from there.
Okay. Thanks, Councilor. For the water rates proposed for FY26 are reflective of the water sewer rate study that was done 2 years ago now, and so it's following along with the recommendations of that study. And so similar, it's the exact same proposal as last year for water rates. The increase proposed is 9%, and this is in tracking with that study. As a reminder, in that study, the reason why the water rates are tracking a little bit higher than had been in more recent years is because we're working to right size sort of the rates to the expenses related to the water fund. The sewer fund has been subsidizing the water fund, and so the rate study proposed better reflecting rates to make the water fund self-sufficient. So again, that's 9%, similar, the same as it was last year for the water rates. I did say water first, right? Okay.
So we have residential rates at 482, non-residential at 653, and then the minimum rate for residential metered water for each quarter, 44.20 per 1,000 cubic feet. Can you just discuss the difference between sections 1 and 2 of that ordinance?
Yes, do you know better? Do you want
Two rates, 482 versus 44.20.
Commercial versus residential? Or do you want me to?
Chair, Andy Varela is on Zoom.
Also know we have Councilor Morsillo from the committee and Councilor Varela on Zoom.
Yeah, so it's basically like we don't have a minimum charge, quarterly charge. So if a resident was to only consume 500 cubic feet of water in a quarter, they still get the minimum charge for 1,000 cubic feet. However, that's only for water. For the sewer, they would only pay the sewer rate, which is per 100 feet. So just the cost of delivery, we don't have like a minimum charge for like a delivery charge, but we expect that if the water is on, that's going to be the minimum charge, 1,000 cubic feet.
Got it, makes sense. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, any motions? Councilor Cohen.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we recommend with a positive, refer with a positive recommendation the water rate to the full City Council.
Councilor Cohen recommends to refer to the full council with a positive recommendation. Rates at 482 residential, 653 non-residential, and a minimum rate of 44.20 per 1,000 cubic feet. Seconded by Councilor Jerslow? Seconded by Councilor Jerslow. All those in favor? See 3 hands, see 4 hands plus my own. The matter carries.
Councilor Varela.
I'm sorry, I assume Councilor Varela. I guess we do need to take, as Councilor Varela is remote, we need to take a roll call vote now that I think about it. Councilor Cohen.
Yes.
Councilor Jerslow. Just doing a roll call vote. Councilor Jerslow.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Morsillo.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Councilor Varela. Let me make him a panelist here.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor Varela, can you?
Yes. Yes.
Councilor Varela is a yes.
Thank you.
That's 5-0. We'll move on to sewer rates. So sewer rates we had at residential per 100 cubic feet, 828, non-residential 1255, non-residential per 100 cubic feet for 25,000 cubic feet and greater, 1607.
Thank you, Councilor. Similar to the water rates, the sewer rates are also increasing at the same amount as last year, consistent with the rate study from 2 years ago. They are increasing at 3%. The cumulative cost for both combined water and sewer is 5%, which again is the same as last year. One note that I think we would just flag is that there have been some changes to what we had assumed in that study that will become, I think, more pertinent potentially in FY26 or really FY27 and beyond. And so with some assumptions related to what we were able to do for capital planning, because the city was able to use some ARPA dollars for capital projects. And so some assumptions like that, and also with potential on the horizon, some changes related to SESD's capital needs. So we do, while we've been sort of moving along at the proposed rate under that study, potentially for FY27 and beyond, it may need to be slightly revisited based on some new assumptions. I just wanted to flag that for the future.
Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Chair. Slightly revisited up or down?
Likely up.
Likely up.
Depending on how what we understand might need to be some of the capital needs at SESD and potentially also the water board as well. But netted against where we've been able to maybe find some savings using ARPA dollars for capital projects. And so sort of the full result of netting all those things together is still to be determined, but it does seem like there are some meaningful capital needs at particularly SESD and at the water board that we're getting a little more clarity on.
Weren't we already expected to see a little bit of a higher increase in the next couple of years anyway? So on top of that, it could be higher than what we're projecting currently?
Potentially. I think the analysis, why we're raising it now, is just to give awareness that I think a deeper analysis needs to be done to sort of bounce off the assumptions from the previous study. Time has marched on and flush that through and really see where it lands to know how much it really would need to change.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear that that's for next year. You're expecting it to be higher.
I guess it would be hard to sort of indicate a specific expectation, but based on what we know right now, I think more just saying we would expect it would need to be revisited to understand the full implication of it. But just to say that for FY26, continuing on with what had been presented 2 years ago for the water sewer study, potentially FY27 and beyond likely would need to be revisited at least at some level to understand the implication. I don't know if we want to officially say, well, it'll be a certain amount higher, but the assumptions have changed. And so we need to see how that plays out.
Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, any motions? Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Chair. Motion to refer to the full committee with a positive recommendation, the sewer rate of 828 for residential per 100 cubic feet, the rate of 1255 for non-residential per 100 cubic feet up to 2,000 cubic feet per month, and the non-residential rate of 1607 for 100 cubic feet for 25,000 cubic feet and greater per month.
Councilor Marcelo moves to refer the full council with positive recommendation, a rate of 828 residential per 100 cubic feet, 1255 non-residential per 100 cubic feet up to 25,000 cubic feet, and 1607 non-residential per 100 cubic feet for $25,000 and greater. Second by Councilor Cohen. Councilor Cohen.
Yes.
No, I know.
Councilor Gerslow.
Yes.
Councilor Marcelo.
Yes.
Councilor Varela, it looks like he might be inside the building.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor Varela,
Sorry,
yes,
yes.
and I'm a yes, so that's 5-0. He's not in the building yet. All right, and we'll move on to the fun stuff, solid waste. So solid waste, we had deleting the fee of $21.86 and replacing it with $25.79. And deleting the fee of $138 and replacing it with $163 for non-owner occupied. So the first one was the fee of $21.86. Sorry, deleting the fee of $21.86, replacing it with $25.79 for residential or for owner occupied, and deleting $138.86 and replacing with $163.85 for non-owner occupied. and commercial establishments would go from 3171 to 3741.
Thank you, Counselor. So the fee for the trash fee, the solid waste fee for next year for FY26 is proposed to increase by 18%. This is certainly a larger increase than had been seen in the prior several years, where it was increasing around 2.5%, consistent with the inflationary clause in our existing contract. The trash enterprise fund for next year is increasing. The costs in the fund are increasing 18%. And so the way that the city approached financing the cost increasing in the fund were to maintain the current proportional balance between the subsidy that comes in from the general fund and the amount that is then paid for by via the rates. And so the total increase in the fund is $765,055. 77% of the revenue coming into the fund right now is the subsidy. And so 77% of that increase we're planning to be sort of basically raised via taxation. The other 23% of that $765,000 has typically been paid sort of proportionately by the ratepayers. And so the sort of value of that rate increase is $173,737. And so proposing to kind of equally apply that 18% increase both to the subsidy, which is general taxation, and then also to the ratepayers as well. So I can sort of speak to sort of mechanically how we determined sort of the rate. If there are any questions about the underlying sort of details driving sort of the change in the cost, I think we went through some of that in the budget, but we can.
Just for those of us that 77% is paid for by the general fund taxpayers,
yep.
And then 23% is paid for by the ratepayers.
Correct.
Voting on 23%.
Exactly correct. And just actually. The subsidy typically is voted in December when the tax rate is set, just to confirm that those assumptions landed as planned for following sort of these meetings. And so that the subsidy piece is done when the tax rate is set.
And when you say the subsidy, you mean the general fund that the rest of the taxpayers pick up? Got
yes, the transfer from the general to the trash enterprise.
Any questions from the council? Councilor Marcelo.
Can you just once again go over those rates?
Yes. Or the specific, so the underlying budgetary changes.
The three rates that we're voting on again.
Oh, sure. So the three rates are deleting the fee of $21.86 and replacing it with the fee of $25.79.
And that's for what?
That is for the
owner-occupied.
Owner-occupied, yep. And then the fee of $138.86 and replacing that with $163.85, and that's the non-owner-occupied. And then the commercial establishments is deleting the fee of $31.71 and replacing it with the fee of $37.41. Oh, yeah.
Councilor Cohen.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we refer to the full council with a positive recommendation the new rates for solid waste, owner-occupied $25.79, commercial $37.41, and non-owner-occupied to $163.85.
I'll note that President Prosnewski has joined us. Councilor Varela is with us in person now. Councilor Cohen moves to send back to the full council with a positive recommendation. The rates of $25.79 owner-occupied, $37.41 commercial, and $163.85 non-owner-occupied. Seconded by Councilor Morcillo. Any other discussion on that motion? I see none. All those in favor? Any opposed? I see 5 hands in favor. Matter carries. Any other motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Councilor Morcillo moves to adjourn. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.